Hey, it's Derek from ForeGolf Custom, and today we're looking at Callaway's new 2021 range of Epic drivers. We've got the Epic Speed, the Epic Max, and the Epic Max LS. This is a bit of a spoiler alert. These drivers are not handicap rated. We've got some really important information on player profile and why any handicap could play either of the drivers. It's a fitter's dream, but it could be your nightmare, so keep watching to get the information. Dave, let's pull in the tech that's on this that we've seen.
Certainly, yep.
And I know that the new jailbreak face that's on this has taken a bit of a leap. Tell us about what you're seeing in this.
Jailbreak was Callaway's way of bracing the top half of the head with the bottom half of the head to allow for when the ball goes into the face that you don't lose compression and speed out of the top and out of the bottom of it. So first generation of it and last generation was just two pins. Now those two pins have cross members, which gives it a frame or a stability, a rectangle for all intents and purposes, which just keeps adding to the stability and strength of the driver, which means it can hold more speed into and off the face.
So it's an energy trapper, so it's keeping the energy from going or dissipating into the head and out into the ball.
Absolutely, it's a system for reducing energy loss.
And so AI is all over when we got these drivers first, we got the full presentation, and artificial intelligence or AI is everywhere on this. Still the case with the new Epic? Still
the same. They keep homing it. It was a brand new technology. It keeps getting better, as anything with AI does, where you just keep putting more information into it. So with every reiteration, it's getting better and tighter and more consistent and making the driver and the face more forgiving.
Yeah, I mean, AI is like a big rolling rock or like a snowball. It's consistently rolling and moving and getting bigger and bigger and better. You know, Callaway have really kind of focused on this as their future in terms of design. So in layman's terms, what they're allowing now is the computer or artificial intelligence is now deciding what way they go in terms of design. And that's quite important for the golfer because, you know, sometimes, you know, the human design can reach a certain level, but with AI design, it's about putting as much information, iteration back into design to allow the computer then to bring out new, maybe different ideas that we may have never have thought about as humans. Dave, the hosel is the same, I think, as last season.
It's the same. It's been there for a long while, and to be honest,
you like it though.
Why would you change something which is probably the best that the industry has to offer? Very simple. Two rings separated out, one does face angle, one does loft angle, +2, +1 standard, -1 in the lofts, draw or standard setting in the face, which is either a closed face or a neutral face.
In terms of the storyline behind all this, Dave, MOI or moment of inertia seems to be like the main kind of stamp all over all of these different heads. Explain to people at home about what your sort of explanation of MOI is.
MOI, moment of inertia, is simply just off-center hit straight. It's a way of stabilizing the driver in principle to make it more forgiving. If we're amateur golfers, we don't always hit the ball slap bang out the middles. Haven't worked on tour, neither do touring professionals. So anything that helps keep those shots online with a control of spin makes the driver in principle easy to use or more forgiving.
Yeah, moment of inertia, I mean, I guess the technical term behind it is the resistance to twisting on off-center strikes. And the more that you can move weight to the back of the club and away from the face means that the driver creates a certain stability. So this is where we've seen with these three different heads where David could have multiple applications irrespective of the golfer, depending on how he wants to manipulate the ball flight to get the right kind of, I guess, end result or what he's trying to achieve in terms of how the golfer misses the fairway or misses the shot. But moment of inertia being, I guess, high across all three models means that the forgiveness factor is there irrespective of the head. So let's break down the three heads. So Epic Speed. Give us the player profile on that so that, you know, the people when they see this for the first time they think, actually that could be the driver for me.
Player profile becomes quite complicated throughout this conversation, certainly when we're breaking down the three heads. Because traditionally I would have given you a stereotype player who would use these products. But the way they've been designed and the way they've been evolved, and with the high MOI or more forgiveness across the entire range, the application for each driver is now not ability or handicap based, it's flight related. What do you need the flight of the golf club to do, or what do you want the ball to do through the air? And then you're picking heads from a flight characteristics perspective as opposed to a handicap specific profile.
Which is interesting because when you hit speed, I mean, you put the head down and you went, right, I really like the look of that.
Very pretty, very stable, nice to look, deeper, not as long in the head, a little bit more traditional.
So I guess technically the lower handicapper could be the person who puts down and said, actually, I don't need a lot of adjustability here. I want it quite a neutral, like look at the head.
I just need to pick up a few yards, and that could be as simple as that.
Okay, so that's fair enough. But I mean, it comes in 9 and 10.5 and 12 degrees aloft here. So should the I guess the aspiring players, the I guess mid to high handicap players, should they be looking at it? Is it possible?
The whole range launch, and when with your adjustability in the hosel, you technically have 12 all the way up to 14 all the way down to 8. So you've got every single loft variant you could ever need.
So if you like the shape of it, you're looking for something that isn't too fiddly.
If you spin it a little bit, keep away from the high lofts and then control it through the tip. Or if you need to get the ball in the air, don't be fearful of the lofts because the spin's under control.
So Epic Flash, and now obviously Epic Max. Uber adjustability.
Yes.
Maybe just give us a little insight into how you're going to use that adjustability in that driver head.
But I mean, we all know I'm a fitter by trade, and my job is to get the best performance out of the golf club. So anything that it has added adjustability helps me fine tune or define what I want the golf ball to do. So I love tracks that rotate backwards and forwards, that give me draw bias and then fade bias, and because when you adjust that in with the hosel, you can really fine tune what you want it to do. So again, it's the Max is a relatively draw biased setup to start off with, but you can move the weight to the fade as well. But if you cut it and you want to get the ball and you want to keep it flat, you can draw bias it, draw the hosel, close the face. There's a million different ways to apply this, but if you need to get the ball up in the air and you need a bit of spin, plus you draw it, then you can just use the weight in the fade position. Okay,
so similarly then, the Epic Max LS, LS stands for low spin. And I mean, historically we would have been saying lower handicapper, faster ball speeds, better player, this is the driver for you. But Dave, it's you've thrown the fox among the pigeons in this one.
Well, this in principle is the replacement naming structure for Sub-Zero, where Sub-Zero kind of stereotyped the driver to say, well, that's the good player's product.
I think it stems from Tour as well. I think Sub-Zero was something that came. I remember Mickelson had a low spinning, deep face product, and I think where the actual axis of that low spin, that's where they came up with that Sub-Zero axis line. So that's kind of where it stemmed from. So it was a Tour product.
Now it is slightly more fade orientated, but again, with the weight at the back, you can make a draw. You can draw it off the hosel. So I think the real one for this is if you cut the golf ball or slice the golf ball, you're going to impart side spin that's going to add to the total spin number. So if you cut it, you're spinning it. So a low spin driver will help you control that.
So you're saying that if you're a high handicapper that slices the golf ball and misses the fairway right,
and spins it and it all goes high up in the air, why not use this product? You can make a draw bias on the weight, you can make a draw bias on the hosel, you can go low in loft and add loft to it and that'll close the face. And then you get a low spinning profile which help you control the cut. Why couldn't you use it for that application? And I guarantee you that's where I'm going to be using it. It might be my lower player's product as well, but it's going to be my real spin control variant because all of these drivers where the weight is positioned want to get the ball up in the air.
So there you have it. I mean, it's the first time we've had a delivery of drivers whereby it hasn't been structured by handicap. And you heard from Dave yourself that the LS or the low spin product could actually be used for higher handicappers. It's really important that you make sure that this driver is fitted because not only are there a lot of moving parts, but now you've got 3 different heads that could be applied to different handicaps and players depending on what your ball flight problem is. And I guess that's the key element here. David is looking to use the different heads to dial into the problems that he sees from the different golfers and the different ball flight problems to create ball flight solutions. So he's using the club heads, the design, the hustle, the weight, and the way that it's built to get the very, very best from the driver head, irrespective of the handicap. I'll put a link to the review that we did on epic flash here, just so you can see how that driver operates and then understand how this is very different as a product. Hope that you're enjoying the video. If it's your first time on the channel, subscribe. All of our videos are all related to how we fit with the clubs and what we see from player profiles and what type of players would best suit the product. So very different video. Also, if you do like what you're seeing here, please give us a like. It lets us both know that we're doing the right thing, and we look forward to seeing you at the next video. Thanks so much for watching.